Hey everyone, I am Shahid, the creator for Pakistani American Creative Show. मेरे डायरेक्टर हैं सैयद काशिफ और आज के एपिसोड में हम आपकी मुलाकात कराएंगे मोहम्मद जाफ़र राशिद से, जो फूड इन्फ्लुएंसर भी हैं, शेफ़ भी हैं और बहुत अच्छे अच्छे खाने भी बनाते हैं। मुझे उम्मीद है कि आज इस इंटरव्यू के बाद ये हम सबको खाना खिलाएंगे। तो थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Thank you, Shahid, for having me.
एब्सोल्युटली। तो जाफ़र, ये बताओ कि वेयर वर यू बोर्न एंड व्हाट वाज दैट जर्नी that got you into food in culinary side, because you did your degree in hotel management and then you found your interest in food. So tell our audiences about the journey.
I was born in Pakistan, Karachi, and so then I did my schooling like half from here and half from Pakistan.
Mm.
So I got into this food like by interesting. So when I was done with my undergrad at University of Houston, I went to Pakistan in like late 2019, like
Mm.
in mid 2019. From there, I stopped over at Dubai, and then as Dubai is the capital
Yeah,
of like
food.
food, and then like even in Pakistan, like I was shocked after going so many years after Pakistan, then I saw more like different types of cuisines emerging from Karachi, and then that got me a little bit more interested into like cuisines, like like how to learn. Cause I know like in Pakistan, people bought and like chefs all around different parts like Thailand, Malaysia,
Hmm.
even
Hmm.
people did training in Dubai. So that's why I decided why not pursue this, because I already did a restaurant management course from
Right,
the
right.
University of Houston.
So you knew how to sell it, and then you start thinking about how to make it.
Yes.
Okay,
So I did a research and development side.
there you go. There you go. Okay, so Jafar, tell our audiences, food and culinary art around culinary work and food influencer is relatively a new genre, right? When it comes to social
Yes,
media.
of course.
What has that journey been? I mean, I've seen your reels all along, all this time that you go to different places. Now food trucks have come into the scene. So how do you see the culinary side changing, or what are the things that are changing the food scene recently?
So in Houston, there's a more food trend like for food trucks,
Hmm.
because a lot of places don't have the capital to have a restaurant, so they
Right.
start off with like a food truck. So people get to try it, or they start from home catering. So that's how they
Mm.
start off, and then from there they start off like to see like how the market reacts and all that stuff. And a few restaurants like switch over to a brick and mortar. Like there's a
Mm.
couple of examples I can give you. One can be like Midwest Coney is a halal food truck and started off like serving like halal hot dogs, and then just a few years ago they changed into a brick and mortar in West Chase, Houston.
Hmm.
Another one is Toasted Cheese. They used to sell like halal and like Philly cheesesteaks and toasted cheese sandwich. Now they have a brick and mortar in Katy and Washington Heights.
Absolutely. So is that because the food lovers and the people, they're still missing the restaurant feel, or is that why they start from a truck and then open a brick and mortar store?
I think it's more like to get like the capital and then the customers like like response, because if you're opening a restaurant, the cost goes much significant higher.
Right.
So it's like like an average food truck cost is like $50,000 if you want to open it, while a restaurant might cost you anywhere to $200,000 to $300,000
Right.
to open
Right.
up. So it gives them like a time to experiment, and then it can give them a chance to work around. Sometimes if they're not comfortable, or if they have an easier way to fix their mistakes. Because in a restaurant, like if anything goes wrong, it impacts the whole restaurant and all.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Not saying a food truck doesn't, but a food truck has more like opportunities to fix themselves. And then there's less people who come to like a restaurant, like they have more expectations than a food
Right,
truck.
right, absolutely. So now let's talk about our community. Let's talk
Yes.
about the Muslims. Let's talk about the Pakistanis. You mentioned earlier before our interview that you used to watch the Zok show
Yeah.
or the
Masala TV.
Masala TV and things
Yes.
like that. So tell our audiences what was the impact on your personality, your palate because of those shows.
So a lot of times, like I used to like cook like in the middle of the night, like to say like from my parents and all that stuff. Because whatever like leftovers they had, like for instance, like sometimes we had like chicken tikka or we had kebabs. So yeah, in the middle of the night, I used to make sandwiches, whatever there was, or I used to make like pizza. Like I used to get like kind of creative because that time the internet wasn't as this peak as today, or there was not much social media. So I used to make some creative stuff. I used to make what we call pizza, like making with sandwich bread. Just adding the bread, then adding ketchup, then like the meat, and then adding cheese, and then microwave it. That was like how it started. And then I didn't got more creative as time progressed. Like I was making like pasta, like because at that time I wasn't really comfortable like, around the stove and all that stuff because I was still afraid. I might burn myself, like even cutting stuff. So I used to make like simple stuff that I know like I couldn't like do too much blunder or so or not get hurt and not make it much a mess. Then afterwards, my
Yeah, because they're gonna wake up and then
Yes.
find all that what you did. Right?
yes.
Wonderful. So, अच्छा ये बताओ कि as you start the influencing part of it, right? What has been the commentary coming from the viewers? Like, are these mostly questions about how to make it, or what kind of questions do you receive when you post these
So
videos?
So there's a mix, right? Because it depends like what I post. Like sometimes I post like about a restaurant, like letting people know like about new cuisines that's coming to Houston,
Right,
or
right.
something unique when like they're not familiar with, right? Sometimes they want to try something new and they don't know how it is, so they
Yeah,
like to us,
yeah.
like the food influencers like myself. But also like then I make stuff so people ask like, oh, like this is like interesting. I never like like had this, seen this before. Or sometimes it's like too generic. So then like
Mm.
I said like it might be a generic, but at the same time, it's my twist to like certain items.
Yeah, it's something generic, but you add some flair to it, or you
Yes.
you introduce something new into the
So the
recipe.
other day I made like some macaroni and cheese, and I added like fried chicken and like hot. This was like before like this whole like craze came out like for like hot chicken all that stuff.
Right, right,
So
right.
then I started doing my own stuff because this is what I saw like on KFC and all that. And I said, man, this is not halal. Why don't I do my own way and all that stuff?
Right, right. So is I know that you consume halal. Most of the Muslims consume halal. Is blogging around or influencing around halal food? Is it a limiting factor, or that adds a new line of food menu to it?
So it depends, right? Like as I
Mm,
said, like so Houston's ever growing in the cuisine of halal
right,
because more and more people are getting more aware about halal. So more
right,
restaurants
right.
are trying to invest in halal. So then they hit a new market. So now I know a lot of like Asian restaurants, like especially like Thai restaurants, you see like halal. So one good
Yeah,
example
now
was
halal Korean,
halal.
halal Mexican. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what they want to tap a new market and all that stuff, and then that's a whole new profit margin for them as well, and then for us, a whole new cuisine to try out and then give appreciation to.
Absolutely. So now, lastly, Jaffer, tell our audiences where are you headed? I know I asked you this question earlier. Okay,
Yeah.
is this a pathway to restaurant ownership, or so where do you see yourself in the next 3 to 5 years?
So the next 3, 4, or 5 years, I want to open my own concept out. At the same time, I'm like exploring what's like hitting in Houston, because I see that still people are want the traditional food like desi food or
Yeah,
the Arab food. And the older generation, not saying that
right.
it's not, but I think like now, like once the newer generation, they want all this newer stuff. They want like burgers, they want pizza, they want trying some new like Korean barbecue's been like really hitting. Then like a pho has been like picking up. Also, hot chicken, birria tacos is one of the newer trends that are coming out. That the youth are more interested in. And then your like traditional Pakistan like biryani in New York. Not saying that they don't like it, but I think they wanted to have some different because they grew up eating all that
Right,
Pakistani
right.
and Arab food.
Right. And I think the good thing in Houston is that you have all types of food. So you can start from Monday, and by the time you finish on Sunday, you probably have gone from East Asia all the way to South America, right? Because
Yes.
there's so much diversity of availability in Houston that all kind of food is available. So well, wonderful. Thank you very much for introducing us and our audiences to this type of art, and adding into our ever-growing creative list, to adding your dishes into it, your culinary experience into it. So as you grow in this journey, we'll definitely keep asking you to come back and tell us some new stories.
Yeah, and one time I'll cook for you guys as well.
Oh my God, you just said the magic word. All right. Okay, wonderful, Jaffer. Thank you very much. And
Thank
we'll
you, Shahid, for having me.
absolutely. Thank you.